Hello, curious internet dweller, it is me, Kian, your favorite YouTuber. Anyways, welcome back to this city building project. As you might have already noticed, I've split this episode into two parts. The first part is me talking about building strategy and stuff, and the second part is where we're actually going to be doing some building. Enjoy! Or else! Well, I like it, but it's too big. Too big for this area of the city. I think I'm going to move it somewhere else at some point. But I don't want to pay too much attention to it right now because I want to talk a little bit about my trees. You see, I've got a bit of a conundrum with my trees because I have basically two options with this city. I can, one, make a tree library that consists of maybe 5 or 10 types of each individual variety of tree, and then just paste those here and there around the city whenever I need them, or I can, two, make my own tree designs per area of the city whenever I need them, which is what I've been doing now. Basically, whenever I've needed a tree, I've just built it in the place. And both of these options have their upsides and downsides, and I'll start with this one. This option, the upside is, of course, once I start getting to really big, vast stretches of street and all that, I'm going to be building less trees overall. I'll just have to build a set amount of trees, and then go with them. The downside of this, of course, is that it's hard to make the trees conform to the spaces you put them in. So, for example, if I have a tree stuck right next to this building, I'm not going to be able to paste that in very well without messing the tree and changing up the shape a bit, and, of course, digging into the wall to get out all the leaf blocks that go inside. Even with the // paste -a command, it's still a bit of a hassle. On the other end of the spectrum, me building my own trees means each tree is customized specifically for the spot it is in, but it means I have to build the tree every time, and that can get exhausting. So, which of these two options should I be going with then? Normally, I would probably lean towards this just because I'm lazy and I don't like building too many trees, but I kind of like this option. Honestly, I've been having a lot of fun with this, just building my own trees, and that's for one very specific reason. And that reason is, these trees are what I call lazy trees. They're not, fancy schmancy, high detail trees. They're my version of a tree that I do when I don't want to do something that is fully detailed, fully fleshed out. It's what it's called. It's a lazy tree. It's when I'm lazy building trees, and I want to show you how to make one. So, when I do a lazy tree, what I'm looking for is the minimum amount of detail possible. So that means I'm going for, basically, a trunk structure and leaves. Now, the leaves are the step in which this tree turns from a regular Minecraft, custom tree to my very own lazy custom tree. And that's because what I do is I hold down my right mouse button and I just go nuts with the tree, with the leaves. And overall, this step takes a couple minutes, but it's worth it, I think, and you can talk to people, you can listen to an audiobook, you can talk to yourself with your OBS turned on, like I am. Finally, when the leaves are done, we are headed to our final step, which is the most important step in my opinion, and that's pruning. See, right now, the tree it's alright. I mean, we could leave it at this and be okay with it, but it does look very much like a Minecraft tree. It's not too far removed from the regular large oak trees that you can get when bone mealing a sapling, for example. But we can change that by simply incorporating a bunch of air. So what I like to do for air is I simply do this. I want little pieces of tree that stick out, held on only by a corner of a block. They can even be held on by a corner just like that. And then I cut down pieces that I think are too blocky, and overall just kind of eyeball it to see what I think looks good. This step requires the most brain, but it's still, in my opinion, bit of a lazy one. What we're looking for is airiness, because as you know, trees, their volume contains a lot of air. And in Minecraft that often isn't translated well because these trees, these leaf blocks are, they're still complete blocks. Even though they have a lot of transparency to them, they're still very full. And that doesn't completely emulate what a real tree is like. So we can emulate what a real tree is like by simply adding more air. Giving them blocks a little bit more room to breathe. Now, finally, the final step of the final step is deciding when to stop. You see, with this tree design, we can basically go on for an infinite amount of time and just, keep refining it, keep making it better. But there's always a point at which we have to stop and just call it a day. And that's what makes these trees nice and fun, because we can do that and they'll still look all right. So of course, each of these trees is going to be a little bit different because of how haphazardly we constructed them. For example, this one's a bit more bushy than, say, this one over here. But I think that all is in the spirit of realism, because in reality, trees don't all grow the same. There are a lot of variables that go into the trees, and it's important that they are expressed in the way they're built. Anyways, these have been lazy trees. I hope you've enjoyed. Sorry if my commentary's been a little bit less snappy than usual. I just got home from the hospital and I've been thinking about recording. It's been tough. I'm out of breath. I had lung surgery recently. Now, of course, you can get much, much, much better trees by investing some more time into the building of them. However, I don't care. I'm cool with this. I think this is just the right level of tree for the city. I hope you liked my pain medication-fueled tirade about building trees in Minecraft. I don't know why I recorded that so soon after coming out of the hospital. Anyways, it's been almost a week since then, because I haven't really had time to build on the server, or on the world. This isn't a server, but I did yesterday, and I built the park, and I have mixed feelings about this park, and I hope you'll listen to my tirade about that now that we're done with the building tree part. Anyways, yeah, so I thought with this park what might be cool was to fill the center of it with some kind of special plant, like a marker of sorts, something that stands out, something that holds more value than just a typical tree in the city. So I built this cherry blossom thing. Now, it looks kind of weird from the bottom. I might still tweak it a little bit. But the top is where it's at, and of course, the view from the street is what counts. And I think the view from the street works, both from down here and from up here, so I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, I built it with the same method as the other ones. Speaking of the other ones, you might have seen in the time-lapse, I actually did end up pasting a couple in. I just didn't feel like building them. So I reused them, and this spot's fairly open, so I didn't have to worry too much about things getting in the way of other things. Anyway, so those are the parts of the park that I like. Now for the parts of the park that I don't like. I am feeling very iffy about this tree, oops, shoot. Okay, well, we'll deal with that later. That tree and that tree. I don't know if they fit. I'm kind of liking the bigger trees in the park, and I feel like having the smaller ones there kind of disrupts it a little bit, makes it a bit messy, a bit too noisy for my liking. So I might experiment around with sizes of trees, but on the other hand, having small trees mixed in with the big trees isn't particularly abnormal. I mean, you can have small trees and big trees mixed pretty much everywhere. In a park, it even makes more sense if they keep replanting new ones once the old ones get too big or dangerous. Now, there's this building, the ugly monstrosity. You might be thinking, Kian, what the hell? This building looks worse than that building. Why did you put this building there? And to that I say, I agree, it does look worse. But that's the point. Because I didn't want to have this area dominated by something that looks great, because it'll make everything else look less great. So I thought I'd do the opposite and make something that looks less great, make the rest of the area look a little bit greater. What's this? What's this? There's sunlight in my hair. What's this? There are shadows everywhere. That's right. I got molehills. This is a design by Cubfan. Well, at least inspired by him. He did this little prank near the beginning of Hermitcraft Season 8, where he just placed these around and look kind of like molehills, and I thought, you know what? They do. I like it. So I put some rooted dirt underneath, and yeah, we got molehills. Anyways, I think it might be wise to discuss the elephant in the room. That being, of course, this new building over here, which, I mean, I know it's become almost a cliche of me to say at this point, but I'm pretty happy with. Now, I wasn't too sure at the beginning with the gray and stuff, you know, I'm in general pretty adverse to gray builds. I think gray is a bit of an overused color, or no, let me rephrase that. It's a bit easy to overuse, and I fall into that trap all the time, so I tend to avoid it when I do building. However, I think it works as a nice contrast here, and I'm actually pretty fond of the building design in general. And here's my favorite part of the build, which I just love. I love that you can sit up against the balcony and kind of not quite see over the top of the roof here, and of course with the trees poking up, I think it just mwah. I'm very fond of it. I think that makes up for the rest of the building's, I don't know, flaws in color or whatever you want to call them. Really, it doesn't matter that much. I think I'm just being picky. But yeah, this building definitely, I feel, accomplishes what that building did not, which is to accentuate sort of the stepped terrain of this area. And for that reason, yeah, I'm all for it. And yeah, these shaders I'm using, I thought might be nice to give you a little reward for sticking with me this long. They're BSL shaders. That's all I can tell you. They've been sitting in my shaders folder for a while. I've forgotten the rest of what they're called. So yeah, they're here because I recently got a new version of OptiFabric that actually works, which is amazing. I'm also really happy because I'm allowed to drive again, so I can now once again do wonderful things like finding a parking spot at my university campus. Among... What? I've lost all train of thought. But this isn't a podcast about Kian's life or whatever, so I think I should let you go. I know I haven't done as many fun things as I have in previous episodes. We've only really done this park and this building here and the walkways in between. However, you know, I still count as a success, and some days will do more than others. It's, you know, just the way this works. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a nice day. Leave a comment if you feel like it, and take care.